Hello. My name is Alexis Martinez, and this is the presentation portion of my final project. So, I posted my project on GitHub. It is accessible through the repository MS579, and I wanted to start at the homepage. I was just checking through some things. So, I have a navigation bar at the top here, and at the very bottom of each page, I also have just clickable links to get to each page however we would like, and then I use the same background for all of my pages, and here we go. So our topic is about social engineering and its impact on IoT security. So for me personally, I love IoT devices, that is the Internet of Things devices, because I love the interconnectivity it has, and I love being able to just download a third-party software and try to sync all of these different devices up. And I would like to point out, I said I'd love to download any third-party software. Why, might you be asking yourself, would I be so reckless as to do that? Well, before researching this topic, I just thought to myself, wow, these are so easy to connect. Why can't I have them all connected? And I'm pretty sure that's the rabbit hole most consumers go down once they start playing with these devices. And you see that you can have a watch that's connected to your phone, you can have light bulbs that are connected to other light bulbs, you can throw a party that is a rager with these devices. And it would be so easy to just have everything in sync. So I would like to point out that the key points here are that they are sold for convenience, how easy they are to control, and the awareness. As a consumer, I explained my experience with these items just on a very basic level. And as you can see, they're too easy to control. If I can download any software off the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and just start connecting things with any type of third-party software. They're not all partnered. They're probably, some of these devices that I have at home myself are simply the cheapest that I could find on Amazon. And that being said, in doing this research, I found out how easy they are to control on the opposite end of the user, which is the back end. And the awareness that I lacked as a consumer was mind-blowing. I didn't know giving somebody my network password or my Wi-Fi password would get me into this type of trouble where somebody else can easily toggle my items on and off, use them however which way they liked. I didn't know that. And that is something I think people should become more aware of as time goes on, and hopefully we can learn from the more minor mistakes that people make from a day-to-day, and that the major mistakes that are made that can be fixed before they are given out to the public for use, right? So in the About page, I wanted to be pretty thorough. So I wanted to explain what social engineering is, as people have heard about it for like phishing emails, and some companies even go through trainings on it. But there's also human-based social engineering, and you would think that's a more natural thought for people to consider, but for some it isn't. Like handing out your password to some people, and even your neighbor, thinking that there's no harm being done. Like it's kind of mind-boggling at times how easy it is to access these things. And so then I wanted to explain what the Internet of Things is and how it's so interconnected to just a network and what that means for people. And then I wanted to talk on how this has affected software engineering and the industry itself. And a main point that I would like to touch on, if I could, would be the trust and user confidence, because what I found is that a lot of the times to sell a product, your user has to trust the product will be usable the way it's intended to. The moment you buy something and you're disappointed when you open it, it really sucks. And it's really hard to get around once you've made that reputation for yourself. So I think it's really important to hold that trust on both ends. And the secured software design is really important. And so I go into the historical context of how social engineering has evolved over the years, and how IoT has evolved over the years, and how it will continue to evolve over the years. And this leads us into our ethical consideration page. It brings back that it starts to touch on how we should look at accountability and responsibility through the manufacturer's eyes and the user's eyes. And so once we cover all of this, I still touch on long-term ethical considerations as well, because again, this is to teach and implement in the future as well. And on the security measure page, I actually touch on how these attacks have impacted our software security design and how software development life cycles have also been impacted by this. And then I also listed all of the resources out on the resource page, and that is for each individual page as well. I wanted this to be well documented so people can come and grab everything that they possibly would need to go into further depth. And I even have an extra page, and on this extra page we have the attacks, and these are recorded attacks that people have reported on. So for the two main examples I wanted to touch on, we have the Maria botnet attack of 2016. So this is the most infamous IoT related cyber attack, where hackers used the network of compromised IoT devices to launch a massive DDoS attack, and they were able to take down major websites like Twitter, Netflix, and a few others. And then like with Jeep Cherokee, like it was two people experimenting. There were researchers called Charlie Miller and Chris Velasquez. I hope I'm saying that right. And they did a remote hack on a Jeep Cherokee itself, and they were able to like actually attack the critical system. So the engine, the brakes, and the steering. And this is important because it highlights the dangers of connecting critical infrastructure like automobiles to the internet without sufficient security systems. That is a scary thought. And for the Maria botnet attack, we saw that with millions of devices potentially being used in coordinate attacks, it raised awareness of the importance of security on IoT devices, particularly those with default of easily guessable credentials. And these were what I was talking about earlier. Also, a more common one is probably the baby monitor hack. That's where there was a couple in Houston, Texas that discovered their baby cam had been hacked, and that somebody's voice was coming out from the outsider who was like looking in. And this incident demonstrated the risk of using IoT devices in home, especially with cameras and microphones, and how consumers probably need to change their passwords and secure their home networks themselves. These are not measly attacks, I guess. I mean, not any attack is measly if you think about it, but even the small ones is what I mean. They're there, but I chose to touch on the bigger ones, as you can see. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning into this. Thank you so much for a wonderful class. I learned a lot. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.